Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another Sikh Spectrum. Today we've come to Professor Surinder Singh's house in London, and it gives me great pleasure. They are the founder of Raj Academy and a brilliant musician. I have heard them on the Sikh channel numerous times talking about Rag, so we thought we'd interview them today at their home. So Professor Sahib, Waheguru Khalsa,
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,
Waheguru Ji Ki
Waheguru Ji
Fateh.
Ki Fateh.
Professor, why don't I start by asking you a general question to give us a short profile about your life?
I was just like everybody else, born, brought up in India, in Indian Air Force family. So it was like a gypsy's lifestyle. Every 2-3 years, changing a state. And my life started changing when I was about 9. My father decided for me to stay because the cloud of war at that time was getting a little bit thick. So he decided I should go to Punjab to my grandmother. Everything changed for me. I had no idea what was the difference between Gurdwara and Hindu temple or mosque. I will go anywhere. I was so curious, looking for things and interacting with retired people most of the time. These yogis, the sadhus, and people who play with snakes and this that afternoon time. I just go hang around with those people. I got just curious a little bit more than my other cousins, and I ended up what I am. I think asking a question to my grandmother at the time of Redas, that Asa Mala Panjava, what does this mean? Started my journey with musicology, with Gurmat Sangeet, understanding the concept of Kirtan in a Sikh's lifestyle. And I was always asking, I was the bad one because I had questions which will disturb people. Sometimes the Gyanis, also the known personalities in the community. My question was, Gaviye, Suniye, Man Rakhiye Pao, Dukh par har, Sukh kar le jaye. How does the singing Kirtan, listening to Kirtan can heal somebody? What is the possibility? Then all of these people singing Punjabi songs, all of these people singing Hindi songs, they never get sick? Or singing Bani, and if it is a different, how this is a different? And I was very curious, and so I got raised on the side learning about it, that what is Gurmat Sangeet, what is the capacity, healing capacity in the sound, what is so different. While I studied I went to normal school, I did my degree in economics, and masters in vocal, because my teacher, who was my ustad, insisted me I should look into that. Till the age of 19, I never believed, actually, this is honesty, that I never believed that sound have anything to do with health. I learned about it. I learned all the mechanisms, but then it came to me where everything failed, and my health was not getting better. I had a little accident, and I had to use everything I learned in 5 years. And I'm so shocked till this day that it works. It brought me back. I'm the healthiest person, I think, probably on planet Earth. Never sick, never down, no energy problem, no serious issue, little cold and this, that, fevers. Everybody goes through the physical body, but major issues, I kept it outside of my physical body since 1989. And I think thanks to Baba Guru Nanak Maharaj for incredible introduction of sound in the person of a person's life, the person who wants to seek the answer for being healthy and happy. And that made me sick by choice, not by because I was born, brought up in people who were known as a Sikh in their family. I think my dad's side, there was no Sikhi there. It was, morning will start with a hangover, and at the evening it was a party, you know, and we never knew who we were. I mean, of course, having a case didn't make me just sick, and my realization of Sikhi came after the age of 9, and I'm proud to be Sikh.
But you must have learnt your music from somewhere.
Yeah, I learned from it was coincidence or maybe a destiny. I went to one of the best teacher my grandmother found for me, Pandit Kareti Lal Tahim. He was a yogi, and he was his sector of work was a composition and a musicology, the Santya of sound.
Right.
You know, there's a kirtan. How does what tal where, and the rag, how is it punctuated emotionally? How to connect what rag does to the life. It's not just a couple of notes put together and you make a nice tune and you believe that this is a spiritual and a religious thing. It's not that. It's a whole programming behind it, and how to use that. I learned from him, and I had a blessing of Mahanta Ajit Singh, one of the Udasis, who introduced me to the Sikh instruments. You know, Rabab, how does it look like? What was the function? What is taus? He used to do kirtan with the taus. Saranda, Sarangi, Jodi, their use. Gyani Najar Singh was another teacher of mine who introduced me to Jodi. But in the philosophy of life, not in a philosophy of a culture or tradition. In how can I use these instruments or this kirtan in my life? I remember listening to Mahanta Ajit Singh in the corridors of my village, late afternoon, the tea time, English tea time, doing varasa. He will just sit with his taus and he'll go on, and I haven't heard so far till this day such an impressive piece of music in my life. And I thought he was wrong, though. I thought, up to past 4 years, I thought I tried to prove him wrong. That what he was singing, you know, everybody out there in Sikh community, all these gurdwaras, they're singing things completely different way. How? What he was doing was completely different. Why did he do that? And he proved me wrong. So I recorded Varasa in 500 years of time of Sikhs. The first time I had the honor to put it together in Tunde Saraja Kitani, and we just brought it out.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. People always talk about Santhya, कि संथ्या सिखनी चाहिए कि वसराम किथे है, किस शब्द ਨੂੰ ਤੁਕ ਲਾਉਣੀ ਹੈ, ਨਹੀਂ ਔਂਕੜ ਲਾਉਣਾ, ਬੋਲਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ. I assume for Kirtan it's the same thing, is it? Is there a totally different study of Kirtan in that way?
See, the body of a word, if you use word sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. So this is a Santhya, that the emotional property which makes the word come alive. And how to do that? You know, that's what rag is. Rag is mood, which occurred from feelings. I mean, the sor, the nad. And when emotional signatures, what our left and right side of brain does, it communicates not in English, neither in Punjabi. Because when we cry, we don't cry in Spanish. You know, there's no language. A language is created after that. This is a raw emotion. And when it's manifested and can be sensed with anything, any sense, it becomes nad. And in English terminology, that's a feeling. And when feelings are constructed in a proper program, they become a rag. And the rag is that Santhya of Anhad. Anad sunho vadapagi ho, sagal manorath pure. This Guru Amar Das Maharaj Ji says to us to understand that internal grid for you to be healthy and happy. So that Santhya alongside Gurumukhi. See, there's 60 plus different things in regional dialects and Hindi, Braj, Persian. How many language we will learn? So the Santhya of Gurumukhi is very important. The Santya of emotion, meaning rag on title, is very important.
So, but Kirtan must be taught, obviously, in India, where Ragis, for example, at Darbar Sahib, have learnt Kirtan in a particular way.
I think Kirtan must be learned. You know, I use it very different way. So Kirtan must be learned by a seeker. The person who want to learn from Guru Nanak need to become a Sikh. You know, Mataji, Mother Chalakani sent both of his children with Guru Nanak. You're a guru, you're teaching people, teach my kids too. See, he can't be imposed, right? Guru Babaji said, Lena took everything because he wanted to learn. He became Guru Angad Maharaj. So, Kirtan must be learned. I think from lingual viewpoint, I hear it that way, not to be taught.
Right. I didn't want to ask you this question, but I will now. It's a technical question on shabads. ਕਈ ਸ਼ਬਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਰਹਾਉ ਦੀ ਤੁਕ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਈਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਰਹਾਉ ਦੀ ਤੁਕ ਹੈ. So what is the reason that the Guru Sahib put more rahau di tuks from a kirtan point of view in some of the shabads?
The rahau is more poetic dimension of the shabad. That the central, where Guru wanted to pinpoint or underline that this is the chorus, this is the subject area, this is conclusion line. Sometimes he raises one conclusion as a question, the other conclusion as answer, finalize it. Sometime he will use like Mera man loche Guru darshan tai bilp kare chatri ki nyai. This shabad have 4 rahau. That means it's got 4 points, stress points for Kirtaniya to start from Rahau di Tuk and then give the first reference. You know, the Pramanat, that Rahau has been Pramanat by Guru. Praman jada Guru ne ditta, appella ode magar number 1 pata. Fir dusra Praman 2. तीसरा प्रमाण ਉਹਦੇ ਨੰਬਰ 3 ਤੇ 4 ਤੇ ਜੇ ਰਹਾਉ ਹੈ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਉਹਦਾ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਸ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਦਾ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਰਫ you know there's not just one stress point, he's putting 4
right stress points. The instruments that are behind you, I wanted you to give us a summary of what they are, and especially this one, because I wanted to ask you about the rabab that was played when Guru Nanak Dev Ji was obviously singing the Mardana rabab bajaunde si.
Hanji, this instrument was adopted by Guru Babaji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Bhai Faranda made it on the order of Guru Baba, Guru Baba's instructions. It's a 5-string instrument called rabab, Farandiya rabab. This is not Drupadi rabab. India have very similar looking instrument called Drupadi rabab, have 6 strings. But in the Sikh era, this is the instrument utilized. It's a plucked instrument. Baba Mardana ji played. Bhai Gurdas gives a reference. Ik Baba Akal Roop, Duja Rababi Mardana. So Bhai Mardana played it. But Kirtan was brought into Sikh lifestyle by a female. Because all of the money for this instrument to be made was paid by Bibi Nanaki.
Right.
And rabab a very sentimental instrument for Sikhs. It does both jobs. The rhythm, although saranda have the same thing, but the audible rhythm, the lay, is within the strike of the java. So I call it mother to all the guitars. So I think all the acoustic guitars, everything came out of rabab.
Okay, and the second instrument you have here, which is also in the picture, could you explain something about why you have this particular picture here?
This is I wanted to give to my kids, that Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj playing Saranda. This is just a thought pattern. I didn't want to tell them, I just wanted them to subliminally pick it. At the age of 13, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj created instrument, which you see is called Saranda. In the court of Guru Amardas Maharaj. Guru Amardas Maharaj was Guru at that time. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj did Kirtan with it at Darbar Sahib. And there's a Gurdwara called Chobara Sahib in Goindwal Sahib. That's where Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj usually will sit with his Saj, Saranda, and do Kirtan. But then he gave it to the Sangat came from Afghanistan to see Guru Babaji, and still you go to that pathway, Balochistan to Afghanistan up to Kandahar and Kabul. Saranda is apparently rabab, and Saranda are the key instruments in Afghanistan.
So what nowadays is not played at Darbar Sahib. Must have been a different mood then when Guru Arjan Dev Ji was ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਸੀ ਸਰੰਗੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਾਜੀਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ
I think we evolved in a good way and a bad way, because the East India Company and all of the internal politics too, we couldn't keep the spiritual identity, the need, the purpose of being Sikh alive. Socialists, we just wanted to get larger in numbers, and therefore we found any way, any means to publicize and get larger in numbers. So the easiest way was picked. The Gora wanted to sell Vaja, wanted to pick up the rababs and sarandas to put in their museum or sell it outside of India as a Asian instruments and rare things, and he brought it everything to the West. We find our instruments from New York, from Boston Museum to New York Museum to Victoria Albert Museum, Horniman Museum. Our instrument, the godowns are filled with rababs and sarandas.
Right.
Punjabi have lost access. I don't think Sikh have forgotten about it, but the Punjabi is preferring other instruments at the moment.
So do you think that at the Darbar Sahib we should really not have the Vajja?
I think the Sikh will understand the santya of emotions. Once they will understand the kirtan, will automatically not use Vajra. I'm not against any instrument. I think for kirtan you don't need anything. For kirtan you need your psyche,
right? Because
that's a psychological process. But when it comes to the tradition and the trends from the Sikh courts, then of course there's a purpose of Sikhs instruments like rabab and saranda, jodi, sarangi, taus and dilruba, and we should actually pay a bit attention to it too.
Okay, I want to talk about Raj Academy. Now this is your academy that you started in 1994. So what was the purpose of starting Raj Academy?
When I came here to England, I saw every Gurdwara is teaching two things. It's a Kirtan class and a Punjabi class. And to see, curious mind, you can't shake it. I went there was nothing to do with the Kirtan. The people were told Bollywood songs and the old traditional rags of Hindustani music. They were not taught by Shabad. And how does a lead the surat as a guru? How to make a surat as a chela to the Shabad? There was nothing. And plus one Shabad one day, Rahao, and a little bit, then second day something else. So I thought, let's do something English way. So I went with Open College of Network, OCN program, started in 94 as a Raj Academy. I didn't want to call it Royal Academy of Music. I wanted to call it Raj, that it ruled the heart of people. And it was uphill, and it still is, but now we are from Australia to Africa. You find us people doing these instruments. They're doing kirtan with these instruments, but they're not performers. They're musicologists. They're kirtani. They understand and use their life to punctuate their emotions with the Shabad.
So are some of them not Sikhs at all that are in Raj Academy?
96% of our people are not Sikh. They are Sikh, but they're not from Punjabi background.
ठीक है. So, and how many students do you have now then that follow Raj Academy?
We, at the moment to this day, is 2,800 some people at the moment in the program we have.
Right. So you go around universities around Europe, and or there certain countries that are more inclined to listen to you than others?
I think except Punjab and the Punjabi community, everybody is pretty much very interested. I work with the University of West London as a professor of musicology. You can call it sound physician, That's my bread and butter. But the Raj Academy is a non-profit organization, a charity in America and in Canada, and here we are in a process. But I will say the majority of the people are very open to this, and it's the Germans. They are so curious. The biggest hub we have in in ratio to the other European countries is Germany, very powerful.
Really? It's funny because I just thought about Ernest Trump, who translated the Adi Granth originally when one of the first scholars that went and translated into English on Bob Bada Granth lekhed the English de vich. He was a German, obviously linguistic.
You know, I would like to add in,
Sure.
the only one thing he missed was the emotional santya, the rag. If he would have not missed the what asa means, he would have never write in early words of his that it's just a repetition. He will never write that because he was just a linguistic. Therefore, he made major mistake.
Right. I mean, you did touch on this particular Varasa that you talked about. Okay? So there are limited copies of these, and I was over the moon that you've given me one. So I want to thank you for that. But explain a little bit about how many have you produced of these?
I'm an educationalist. We run the organization from this one. We don't want to sell it. We never made any money, and every publisher who's making CD will tell you the same thing. There's no money making CDs. I just wanted to archive Varasa, and I wanted this CD to go into right people's heart and hands. So I knew you will never come across because this will not be found in the shops.
Right.
And that's why I gave it to you. But 932 copies we made, I mean, we got in our hands, and out of that, the European nations have picked up their whatever we allocated to them. But the Punjabi, we are left with 190 because the Punjabi, you know, it's probably on our end we couldn't get it to them that it's available, or maybe they don't give a dime at the moment.
So why is it, do you think, that a lot of Gurdwaras don't invite you, or you're not appealing to the Punjabi community?
Recently, just a couple of weeks ago, I've heard this, oh, Surinder Singh would love to do things with you, whatever you're saying and doing makes sense. But the problem is the people who are here after you, who are 90% looking after the things in the Gurdwara, are not comfortable with you. So we get in middle. In a crossfire. It's not the Sangat, it's not the Prabandhak, it's not the parents.
Okay.
I think it's a regime of professionals which is...
But what is it that they don't like about you? What is it? Is it something about your music?
I think because I'm not commercial, I'm not there to make money, neither I'm a politician, neither a socialist. So the way I say things, if I say Asa Mala Pella is written in Sri Guru Granth Sahib, and nobody dare to change that. And when we take it that way, that the Guru ne asa keha, then why are we changing? When I raise that question, it's difficult to listen to that, and especially for those people who are professionals, who are supposed to be the trained people, who we pay for their services to come and do kirtan for us. They get uncomfortable. I'm not there to make them that way, but the reality of we can't deny that the rotiya karan purata, that's a happening.
But I am surprised, I'll be honest with you. I thought that maybe more Gurdwaras would invite you, at least, because when I listen to you, I think it's different. Rather than listening to the normal bhajya, what appealed to me was that you weren't using any bhajya. That's what appealed to me about when I first listened to you.
I think community is very much, you know, television is Sikh channel have been broadcasting our programs, and people usually come to me and say, you know, TV is good, you know, just stay on the TV. But I think in Gurdwara we are on the road of crisis. If we're looking into the socialism of community, our kids are not going to Gurdwara. The reason is their questions are not answered.
Yes.
And they're not going to get answered the way we are going. I think we need to make the shift. We are trying to make it to go to Gurdwara and speak to them. We're not charging them anything. We actually use our daswand to go and speak to them and do as much we can. But we are more educationalist. I'm not saying, son lo kirtan, prasad shako kar jao. We've got to do something.
Yes.
And that's where probably jada gair pasand hai.
Okay, we're nearly coming to the end of our interview. I want to ask you, you have a busy schedule with all the teachings that you're doing for Raj Academy, your trips. What do you do to relax? You know, what is it do you do other activities?
I was polo player before my accident.
Okay.
So whenever I get opportunity to ride horse, I do that. But the golf is the other thing I do. I go for golf to relax. But my main relaxing thing is teaching. For me, it's everything. It's a sangat. It's being inspired by those people who can't even speak English properly. Kya Punjabi, and their dedication, their sort is so relaxing. You know, when you are amongst them, you get healed. You feel relaxed.
Right. So, is there anything that you'd like to share with our viewers, as we've only got a couple of minutes left? Is there any message you'd like to send to the Sikh channel viewers?
I just want to request to my brothers and sisters and the kids in the community that this is a phobia made by some individuals. It's a beautiful thing. This is the simplest thing that anybody can do in their life. Don't just live by dragging the life through. Learn about it. Learn Guru Arjan Dev Ji's, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj, Guru Nanak Maharaj's concept out of the social boundaries. Music is a very important part. It is the configuration of left and right side of the brain. And if you understand Guru's way, the Kirtan, you won't struggle with diabetes. You won't get threatened by dementia. You won't suffer from Alzheimer or disease of any kind which is threatening. I'm living example in front of you. You know, everybody given up on me in '89, and I'm sitting here the healthiest in front of you, and just coming from my heart as an experience. As Guru Babaji says, "Manne ki gat kahi na jaye," but without amal, you know, without amal, without practical use of kirtan in the life, it's just you know. Otherwise, that means the Michael Jackson. I'm not saying that he's not in Sachkhand. then there's no need for the kirtan if the music can take us to the other side.
So I want to thank you very much, Professor Surinder Singh. I think it's great talking to you and allowing us, the Sikh channel viewers, to come to your house. And I hope that, if nothing else, that at least some gurdwaras will invite them. I will be trying personally to push for that.
They do.
So thank you very much. Fateh Bula Diye. Waheguru Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.